I wasn't surprised at all. We also know what he's capable of. He's made big kicks and big games over the course of his career so far.
We fight. We went 0-2 first 2 games. We tied it back up, went 2-2, and now we're 3-2 because of our fight, because of how we face adversity.
I thought it was a really good team win here. It's a really good opponent that we went against in a very hostile environment.
Being able to come out victorious is big for us, so feel great.
Welcome to the show. We are on Sportscenter here on ESPN Radio. ESPN 2, we are presented by Progressive Insurance. ESPN 1000, Chicago Bears, a radio network with the call of the Bears. Monday Night Football win over the Commanders. The Falcons upset the Bills. A coaching change in Tennessee. All part of the big day in sports, as well as the 2 baseball games last night. Seattle and LA both win. You can be a part of Unsportsmanlike Nation on the Dr. Pepper call line at 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. ESPN Nation presented by Dr. Pepper. It's not college football season without the delicious taste of an ice cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing. Along with Michelle Smallman, Chris Canty, Evan Cohen with you. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing?
A couple of surprises on the board last night in terms of the performances. Now, I took the Chicago Bears in my best bet, plus 4.5. Did not think that they were going to win outright. That was a hell of a performance by that team. Hell of a performance by DeAndre Swift, 175 yards from scrimmage. But Smalls, of course, all eyes are going to be on Caleb Williams and how he was going to play, going back to the scene of crime from last year's loss. And he came through in fine fashion.
He sure did. And guys, I was watching that game last night and that ending with a smile on my face because, as you know, I have been railing against Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, and their dominance because I love rivalries, and no one has been able to step up and be a true rival to Patrick Mahomes. And I'm watching this game last night, and I think about the way Jaden Daniels and the Commanders won it last year. I think about the way Caleb Williams and the Bears won it this year, and I'm wondering if Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, and Jaden Daniels, the number 2 overall pick in that draft, is going to be the quarterback rivalry that I want and need in the NFL.
That's a good one. Maybe. I mean, it's 1-1, right? In terms of their 2 years against each other. Jaden wins last year. Caleb wins this year. 25-24. The score. Chicago wins the game. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They have won consecutive games by 1 point. They were down in the fourth quarter. Caleb, as you guys mentioned, 17 of 29, 252, a touchdown and a rushing touchdown. Year to date, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the passing side. Has taken 10 sacks, which is better numbers than a year ago, where he took, 68 sacks in 17 games. And the fumble late was huge. Washington was up 24-22, 3rd and 1 at the Chicago 40-yard line, 3:10 to go. Jaden Daniels has a bobbled exchange. Chicago recovers it. They run a 9-play, 36-yard drive over 3+ minutes. Jake Moody coming off the practice squad, kicking the game-winning field goal, and he keeps the Commanders off the field, he being Caleb, and their team, and they win that football game. You said, CC, you were impressed with the overall play of the team last night. You specified DeAndre Swift, who was great. But what about the Caleb part of it? He's obviously the face of the franchise. Ben Johnson with them. He gets the coach he wants. Your assessment now of Caleb after this win last night?
Well, I think the most important thing is that he's playing competent NFL quarterback, right? He's getting the ball out on time. He's not turning the ball over. He's not taking a bunch of sacks. And he's playing well when it comes to the fundamentals of the position. I thought he was outstanding against the blitz last night. He hits DeAndre Swift on that little out pattern, 55 yards to the house, touchdown. They were down 8 in that moment in the fourth quarter. That's a big-time play. And even though it's not showing off immense physical talent, it's making the right football play, and that turning into an explosive, that turning into a big thing. And so much of why everybody wanted Ben Johnson to be the Chicago Bears coach is because they thought that Ben Johnson would make life easier for Caleb Williams. The question that we had on this set was about whether or not Caleb Williams would allow Ben Johnson to take the pressure off and whether or not Caleb Williams could execute in terms of making the right football play versus making the flashy football play. And I think we have our answer through the first 5 games. Caleb Williams is settling in now. He's got a feel for what the play caller wants. And again, it's not him showing off the arm talent or showing off with the second reaction plays as much as it is him playing on schedule and that resulting in big gains for the offense.
Caleb post-game on how that win felt last night.
Yeah, it felt great. Back in, hometown, obviously, and being able to come out with a win like that is big for us, big for us as a team, big for us as an offense, special team, just overall big for us. And that's a hell of a team over there. So being able to come out victorious in a dogfight where things weren't perfect, weather wasn't perfect, and being able to come out victorious is big for us. So feel great.
Smalls, has he turned the corner from last season?
It certainly seems like he's on his way. I don't know if I'm ready to go there definitively, but as CC just highlighted, you see the chemistry with Ben Johnson growing. You see the maturation process of Caleb Williams happening in real time. And week to week this season, we've seen him get just a little bit better, punctuated by this huge win over Jaden Daniels, going back to the scene of the crime of a place where it was a bad loss for the Bears last season. And you try to look at certain trends to determine whether or not a player or a team is turning the page. And I think with this Bears team, being able to lose the moment was a big problem for them. And we're seeing that they have an ability to rally and win close games. That's shifting for them. Before week 6, the Bears had lost 28 straight games when trailing by 8 or more points in the fourth quarter. Now we've seen in back-to-back weeks, Caleb Williams and the Bears have that composure and be able to come out with a win. I do think we are seeing him take steps in real time.
Sometimes when I look at quarterbacks, I just hope that they're boring, and I mean that in a good way. Of just make the right play, throw to the guy who's open. You don't have to throw the ball 100 yards downfield. Just, oh wow, Michelle's open there, I'm going to give her the ball. Chris is open there, I'm going to give him the ball. Just do the things that are supposed to be done. And CC just said something very important. I think he's not trying to be flashy, and I don't know that he ever was trying to be flashy at USC. I think Oklahoma. I think the way in which Lincoln Riley calls the offense enables the quarterback to look flashy, and maybe he was at times. Maybe
wasn't there a lot of improvisation?
Oh, there's a ton of it.
So that I think inherently can look flashier.
But I think he's getting to that what I would call boring, and I mean that in a good. He's just making the right plays.
Exactly, and those right plays turn into big things. There was another one on a third down. It ended up being a drop by Alameda Zacchaeus. That would have been a huge gain. And Troy Aikman was talking about it. If the receiver caught the ball, he'd still be running. He hit his head on the goalpost. And it was a simple crossing pattern. It was a simple China route. There are things baked into the offense to generate explosive plays. Caleb doesn't have to go above and beyond the X's and O's because of how good Ben Johnson is as a coach. And I think he's finally starting to trust that, and that's why this team is starting to pick up some momentum. Again, after the beginning of the season, dropping the first 2, now 3 straight, being able to get this win off of a bye week, I think there's a statement. There's something to be said for that team being able to overcome the adversity that they faced in last night's game and come out on the winning side of it. They had a big lead early on. They gave it up, found a way to win in the fourth quarter. And one of the things that I was watching while that game was happening was Caleb Williams' body language. And I wanted to see had that turned a corner from last year, because that same player, last year's team with Matt Eberflus as the head coach, would be sulking on the bench. And it did not look that way last night. And all of the cameras were flashing to him. Every single time Jaden Daniels made a play, threw a touchdown, whatever it was, they flashed to Caleb Williams. And I thought he did a good job of staying composed. And if he didn't panic, the rest of the team didn't panic, and it showed in their confidence to execute in the critical moments that decided that game.
So is the Ben Johnson-Caleb Williams marriage right now one in which you think could lead this squad to the postseason this year?
I'm not there yet. I'm certainly not
hovering though.
I'm not going to take it off the board.
Yeah, so hovering.
Yeah, listen.
That's a win.
Coming into the season off of a 5-12 year where they got rid of the head coach, we all said if they can have a winning record and be in the playoff mix, maybe not punch their ticket to the postseason, but just be in the mix. That was a huge success for Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson in year 1. They're trending in that direction now. If you're a Chicago Bears fan, you got to feel really, really good about where your team is and the direction that it's going.
The flip side last night, the late fumble by Jaden Daniels on the exchange, and obviously not a good thing when you're up points late in the fourth quarter, fumbling the ball in the other team's territory. Jaden Daniels, superstar quarterback, had this to say post-game on the fumble.
Can you walk us through the turnover at the end there? Was that what took place?
I just lost the ball. Completely my fault. Didn't give Bill a chance, so it was my fault.
Wow. I hadn't heard that cut yet.
You love the accountability.
Oh my God, I love that. That was great. That was. I was going to ask a question off of it, but now I don't even want to, because it's just like
That's what a leader does, right? They
great.
take accountability. They don't throw their teammates under the bus.
Yeah, I thought that was your fault on that. I totally agree with you. So Jaden Daniels, though, this year has been banged up, the fumble late. I don't feel right asking the sophomore slump question, but...
Oh, I'm not even going there with the sophomore slump. What a awful loss for the Washington Commanders. You had the ball less than 4 minutes to go in plus territory, and you give up the ghost because you can't handle the football? How is that acceptable? You have a chance to tie the Philadelphia Eagles for the division lead. You're talking about competing with the reigning defending Super Bowl champs, and you gave away that opportunity against an NFC team. That is one of those losses that you hope doesn't come back to bite you if you're the Washington Commanders. They literally gave the game away with all of the turnovers, all of the miscues. Those things are completely unacceptable. I give them a ton of credit for being able to show some fight. They were scrappy. They blocked kicks. They made big plays. They got explosives. But ultimately what it comes down to is taking care of the football on a rainy night in the district. That's one of those things that you have to emphasize as a team. Ball security. We say it's job security in the NFL. Certainly the Washington Commanders didn't do a good job of that last night, and that cost them.
No question. And they're now looking at a spot here where, listen, the Cowboys are not unbelievable. We know that. But they're playing the Cowboys this week, and that's an important game now because you're playing for second. You thought you were playing for first place if you close out that game. Now second place on the line there at the Cowboys. But if you're the Commanders, you have at the Cowboys. Then you have at the Chiefs, who are obviously playing much better right now. Then you have the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football, and the Seahawks are one of the better teams in the NFC. And then the Lions. I mean, that's a tough 3-game stretch. So you're right. That we could look back at that fumble in a weird way as a turning point moment for the Commanders season, because if they finish a game back of whatever their goal is, whether it's division, playoffs, seeding, whatever, we're going to look back at that fumble and say, you just have to close out the game.
The irony of that is last year was a turning point for the Chicago Bears in a negative way.
Right.
This game could be a turning point in a negative way for the Washington Commanders. If they don't make the playoffs, that's the one that they'll look back on and they wish they could have had it back.
I'm telling you, this is the rivalry that we're going to want and need.
That would be great. That would be great. That moment last night, Jaden Daniels, that fumble was certainly a memorable moment. Probably not as memorable as a wild double play between the Dodgers and the Brewers, one of the weirdest double plays you'll ever see in your life or hear in your life. And, of course, that was happening in the road to the World Series, which goes right through ESPN Radio, of course, with the Dodgers over the Brewers last night, Seattle over Toronto. Road to the World Series goes through ESPN Radio. Catch all the postseason action on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. I'm sorry, what happened in Atlanta last night? We will get to that.